Has an unintentional word, a cold glance, or an ignored message ever had the power to ruin your entire day? We've all been there. That moment keeps replaying in our minds, gnawing at our confidence and leaving a heavy feeling in our chest. This is a silent burden that nearly all of us carry, an invisible wound always ready to ache because of a comment or an action from someone else. We spend too much energy analyzing, self-doubting, and then sinking into misery. But why do we allow external things to have such tremendous power over our inner peace? The truth is, the suffering doesn't actually come from their words. It comes from the story that our mind fabricates immediately afterwards. And this is exactly where the ancient wisdom of the Buddha offers a miraculous liberation. Right now, we will explore 5 profound teachings to learn how to stop personalizing everything, to reclaim emotional mastery, and to find true peace. Lesson 1. It's not about you. The first and most liberating foundational lesson the Buddha teaches us is a simple truth. The actions of others are rarely about you. They are almost always about themselves. Imagine you present an idea you poured your heart into, but instead of constructive feedback, a colleague hurls harsh criticism, even completely dismissing it bluntly. What is our natural reaction? We immediately retreat to the defensive line. What did I do wrong? Is my idea that bad? Or does he simply dislike me? Our mind automatically makes us the center of that negativity. But let's look deeper through the lens of wisdom. Their action does not arise from a vacuum. It is the result of countless seeds sown in their consciousness beforehand. That is their own karma. Perhaps they just went through a sleepless night, an argument with a loved one, are under financial pressure, or carry deep-seated insecurities they have never voiced. The world they see is filtered through their own perception, a lens colored by those very personal sufferings and experiences. Their words, their actions, are essentially a reflection, a mirror showing their own stormy inner world, and not a judgment of your worth. The moment you feel hurt, pause for a beat and gently ask yourself this powerful question. Is this truly about me? 9 out of 10 times, you will realize the answer is no. You merely accidentally stood in the path of a storm that someone else is carrying inside. This question helps us lighten the burden of self-blame and stops the automatic mechanism of seeing ourselves as the center of all suffering. This is the first act of liberation, not owning an energy that doesn't belong to you. You do not have to accept the anger, the judgment, or the sadness of others. Return it to its true owner and keep your inner space pristine. Lesson 2. The story that the mind fabricates. Central to this teaching is a powerful truth. The external event lasts only a few seconds, but the story that our mind tells about it can last for days, weeks, or even years. Our suffering lies not in the event itself, but in the fact that we identify ourselves with the story the mind has fabricated. Let's take a simple example. You send a message to a close friend, and many hours pass without a reply. The event here is simply, a message has not been answered. That is a neutral fact. But our mind doesn't stop there. It immediately gets to work composing a tragedy movie. Did I say something wrong? She must be mad at me. Maybe this friendship isn't as important to her as I thought. From a simple fact, the mind has embroidered an entire narrative of rejection, worthlessness, and anxiety. Meanwhile, the truth could simply be that your friend is busy in a meeting, has a dead phone battery, or just hasn't seen the message yet. It's the same event, but countless stories can be created, and we tend to believe the one that causes the most suffering. And here is the truth that can change your life. Thoughts are not facts. They are merely activities of the mind, clouds drifting across the sky of your consciousness. We suffer because we mistake those clouds for the entire sky. To break this identification, practice an extremely simple but effective exercise. Whenever you notice yourself being swept away by a negative stream of thought, take a mental step back and gently say to yourself, "Ah, a thought," or "Ah, my mind is telling a story again." This act creates a valuable space. You are no longer the main actor in that tragedy movie. You become the audience observing the film. You shift from being identified with the thought to the state of observing the thought. When you can see the story as just a story, it loses its power to hurt you. Lesson 3. The power of non-reaction. In a world that constantly urges us to respond immediately, the Buddha taught that the highest emotional power lies not in giving the smartest reaction, but in choosing not to react. There is a classic story that tells of a time when the Buddha was teaching, and an angry man approached and used the harshest words to insult him. The Buddha remained still, serene, showing no sign of distress. When the man grew tired from his curses, the Buddha gently asked, "Sir, if you buy a gift to give to someone, but that person does not accept it, to whom will the gift belong?" The man replied in surprise, "Of course it belongs to me." The Buddha smiled and said, "In the same way, today you bring your anger to me, but I do not accept it. Therefore, it still belongs entirely to you." This story is a perfect illustration. The negative words and actions of others are like a sharp stone they throw toward you. The instinctive reaction is to try and catch it, and the result is that your hands will be torn open and bleed. Not only are you in pain, but now you are also clutching their stone. But you always have another choice. You can simply step aside and let the stone fall to the ground. It may create a sound, but it cannot harm you. To master this power, practice 4 simple steps whenever you feel triggered. Pause. Do not say or do anything. Create a moment of silence, even if it's just for 1 second. Breathe. Take a deep breath to bring your mind back to your body. Observe. Identify the emotion that is arising, anger, hurt, without judgment. Don't engage. Consciously choose not to accept that gift or stone. When you practice this, a miraculous transformation will take place. You are no longer the leaf being carried away by every external force. You become the mountain. The wind may howl, the storm may rage, but the mountain remains there, solid, still, and unshaken. Lesson 4. Let go of the identity you are vigorously protecting. The core of all suffering when being insulted by others lies in the fact that we are protecting something called the self, or ego, kai toi. We hold an image of ourselves. I am intelligent. I am kind. I am a professional. When someone says something contrary, it feels like a direct attack on who we are. But the Buddha's core teaching on non-self, anatta, reveals a startling truth. The solid, unchanging self we are trying to protect actually does not exist. Let's honestly look at ourselves. Is the person you are today the person you were 10 years ago? Is it even the person you were yesterday? Every cell in your body is constantly changing. Your thoughts, emotions, and views are also a non-stop flow. The entity you call I, or self, is essentially just a temporary collection of experiences, memories, and feelings. It is a story, a fictional identity, not a solid entity. Therefore, when someone attacks that self, they are attacking an illusion. The pain we feel is the delusion created by ourselves when attempting to protect something that is inherently unreal. True liberation comes at the moment you stop this meaningless war. When you let go of the need to protect that fictional self, the words of others suddenly lose all their power. They have no place to latch onto. They are merely sounds passing through space, unable to leave a scratch on your true nature. When you are no longer concerned with proving yourself right or maintaining your image, you will find boundless freedom. This is a revolutionary shift in perception. When there is no self to protect, there is no wound to receive. You become the space rather than an object within that space, and no one can harm the space. Lesson 5. Respond with compassion, not ego. When we are no longer dominated by the ego, a new door opens. Instead of reacting with defensiveness or anger, we gain a higher option: to respond with compassion. Compassion here is not weakness or pity. It is the ultimate power to fundamentally resolve the cycle of suffering, a power that can heal both ourselves and others. This transformation begins with a fundamental change in perspective. Instead of seeing the person insulting you as an attacker, learn to see them as a suffering person. Recall the first lesson. Their action is a reflection of their own suffering. People who are genuinely happy and peaceful within have no need to hurt others. Their bitter words are actually a cry for help from an inner world filled with insecurity, fear, or rage. When you view them through this lens, the anger within you will automatically subside, giving way to a profound understanding. From that understanding, you can do something extraordinary. Instead of mirroring their negative energy with your own anger, you can uplift it with the energy of compassion. You do not extinguish darkness with a greater darkness. You light a candle. Here is a practice of loving kindness you can silently perform in that very moment. When confronting someone who is hurting you, quietly say in your mind, "May you be free from the suffering that is controlling you. May you find peace." This silent prayer is not meant to change them, but to protect your own heart. It prevents the seed of resentment from taking root in your consciousness. This is the ultimate action that helps us transition from an ego-driven reaction to a response based on loving kindness and wisdom. You not only preserve your peace, but also sow a seed of healing into the world. Thus, we have journeyed together to explore 5 profound teachings for liberating the mind. From recognizing that others' actions are not about us, observing the stories the mind fabricates, mastering the power of non-reaction, letting go of the fictional self, to responding with compassion. All these lessons lead us back to one core truth. Peace is not something the external world can bestow or take away. It is a still space that we cultivate ourselves from within. It does not depend on their actions, but depends entirely on our choice of response. Always remember this powerful quote as a guiding principle. Peace begins at the exact moment you stop personalizing everything. That is the key for you to reclaim mastery over your life. If you find these sharings valuable, please subscribe to the channel so we can continue walking together on this journey of discovering peace and healing. Thank you for listening.